Thank you for staying with us. Welcome to Channel 1 Business, and we begin with an interactive segment where this afternoon we are having on set the development expert. This as we discuss the status of county economies. Stephen OGUTU, welcome on set.
Thank you so much for having me, Irene.
Well, as we kick off these brief interviews, we understand the county government came in place in 2013. Where would you rate the performance of the county governments?
Well, before jumping into that, I think it's important to recognize that if there is one good thing that ever happened with our 2010 constitution, then it is the introduction of the counties. Because what this has done is bringing services closer to the people. And today, if you get to travel across most parts of this country, I've had an opportunity to travel in nearly all the 47 counties, and you'll see places that used to be deserted, that never used to have life, have been turned into economic hubs. Local economies are thriving. Areas that didn't have access to health facilities, we are seeing progress in those fronts. And agriculture, of course, which is one of the key devolved functions under the Schedule 4 of our Constitution, has also been supported under the counties, and farmers are now able to access inputs and things like that. But even with this progress, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of strengthening the governance structures and eliminating corruption, which is also eating into the kind of future that you want for this country.
Are we on the right track, OGUTU, in regards to counties and development? Remember, we have been having the issue of funds. Do you think it's about time they generate their own funding?
I think we're on the right track as a country with regards to devolution. But I think it's also important to appreciate that, with like I mentioned, under the Schedule 4 of our Constitution, there are so many functions that were devolved. But with this devolution also meant that most of these counties didn't have the prerequisite technical capacity to undertake some of these roles, whether it's agriculture, health, among others, knowledge to undertake these new roles, but also most importantly, the limited funds that the counties receive. I think that it's important that, and I've been an advocate of this, that we need more funds to follow those functions at the county level. And beyond that, I also think that the county governments have a role to play in terms of creating enabling environment that allows a private sector to pump investments into those counties. I mean, there are excellent examples of counties that are already thriving along those lines. Counties like Makueni, Kisumu, Bomet County. I mean, these are counties that are very big when it comes to things like the PPP, public-private partnerships, that helps them to, generate on-source revenue to finance some of the work that they do.
Back to the counties, and you're talking about the county governments partnering with the private sectors, but there's this issue of job creation, which affects quite a large number of the youth. Do you have any partners that you think the county government should direct their focus into in order to create job employment?
There's plenty of ways that I think county governments can tap into to create opportunities, because I believe, and I think these experts believe that job creation is not necessarily the work of the government. The work of the government, whether national or county government, is to create enabling environments that attracts private sector players to come into place, invest in manufacturing and areas like those that create opportunities for young people, majority of whom are really unemployed. I think as we speak, close to 30 or 35% of the Kenyan people are unemployed, and that is the largest in the region. So I think the way to go is to create enabling environment policies, that promote, attract, private sector investment. But most importantly, I also think that it's important for counties to also eradicate things that hinder smallholder businesses from thriving, remove taxes that, that inhibit these small businesses from thriving.
OGUTU, as we come to the close, let me take you back to the funds. According to the controller of budgets, majority of counties, and here we're looking at 42 counties out of the 47, which continue to record a revenue collection of just 25% of the annual targets. What do you think can be done to spur this collection? At the same time, before you answer, that should not affect the common man. Remember, there is the issue of the cost of living.
I think for me, the way to go, the various ways to it, but most importantly, I think, is creating an environment where small-scale traders, can thrive. I mean, when you have a wider scope of people, doing business unhindered, without these heavy tax regimes, then you are able to collect much revenue. But I think also importantly is to find ways to engage with the private sector. There are so many international development organizations that are also willing to collaborate with the counties. I'm saying this because I've been involved in a number of development projects and had a chance to work with a number of counties. And so I think it's just for the county bosses to be aggressive, come up with strategies on how to engage development players, donors and the donor community and the private sector to ensure that there is that collaboration to address the pressing needs that face counties.
Thank you. That is Stephanie OGUTU. Thank you for your time. Looking forward to have more on these engagements. That's the development experts as we focus on the status of the economies at the counties.